Disclaimer, the comments made in this video are intended for entertainment purposes only and are not intended to offend anyone.
50% of pregnancies are unplanned, which would mean that most people don't actually plan to conceive children.
Wait, you mean unplanned in the sense where it's like, oops?
Well,
Another day, another anti-woke refresher. Hello and welcome to another video. You already know what it is. Hit that like button and let's get right into it.
Many things about being a trans person that are difficult, but by far the most difficult one is being one of the hottest people on the planet. I know.
Well, of course, my liege. You are the finest maiden of all the land, my liege. Don't let these peasants tell you what beauty is, my liege. Look at your sisters. Wow. Look at that beauty, my lord. The whole lot of you is all so beautiful. Just whatever you do, don't cancel my head from the rest of my body. Just like you did with the last one who said you wasn't beautiful. We must all simultaneously and unanimously state just how beautiful you all is. I agree, my liege. Anyone who can't see this obvious beauty in your community, it must be cancelled from their heads. So beautiful, all of you. Every single one is beautiful.
That was really funny. The resemblance is uncanny.
We identify as a non-human animal.
Do you actually believe that?
Yeah.
So
a
you're
non-human animal.
You're not a human?
But I don't identify as an animal, but I identify as a non-human. It's really confusing. That one's kind of iffy. I don't.
Oh, so it's confusing like the Trinity.
Yeah, it's a bit iffy.
Just repeat after me in English.
Yeah?
So I bear witness
I bear witness
that there is no God
there is no God
worthy of worship
worthy of worship
than Allah.
than Allah.
And I believe
that
Prophet Muhammad
Prophet Muhammad
is the final messenger
is the final messenger
of Allah. Allahu Akbar. You're a Muslim now.
Okay.
There you go. Alhamdulillah.
Wait, what just happened?
Let me try to build this out. You say you're gay, so you're lesbian. It's fine, great. So you're attracted to women, right? Mm-hmm. So you do know what a woman is because you're attracted to them.
I'm also attracted to trans women.
You're attracted to trans women.
Yeah, I'm attracted to both.
So if you get intimate with a trans woman and you see a penis, you're cool with that?
Yeah, it's a woman.
So you actually are attracted to men. Maybe you're not gay.
I'm
But hold on. If you have the trans men, you then have penis. So maybe you're not so gay after all.
No, that's not what a trans man would be otherwise.
No, a trans man is a fake man, so it's a woman.
No, that's
So,
wrong. A trans man
I
is
always get
someone
this-
who went female to male.
Oh, I got it. So
woman is a male.
you're not attracted to trans women.
No,
Trans women are fake women, so men. So people who think they're women.
do you think you're not being rude right now?
No, I think that we're actually getting towards some approximation of how insane our moral degradation of the LGBTQ thing is in our country. How destructive it is, how suicidal it is, how much harm it does. And I think we're putting it on full display. I don't mean to single you out. You came up here voluntarily to the mic. At any time you could tap out or you could, leave. Just want to get to the core of this. Transgenderism is an identity problem that at its core is a brain issue. We treat it as a body issue. Transgender people deserve love, support, and care. And the best way you can love is don't affirm the lie, instead challenge the lie and break them out of the delusion.
Okay.
After everything he said, the only thing she could latch onto is how hypothetically rude he was.
why? Again? Yeah! Twice, actually! Yeah. I don't consent. I don't want that. I don't give a dumb you.
You support a racist pedophile. That's what you support. You're inhumane. You're inhumane. Yeah.
It's not nice. Dave didn't do anything. Okay. Why are you so mad?
Shut the talking to me, bitch.
I'm not mad.
Why are you mad? Why are you here?
I think it's fun.
It's fun. Yeah, we think it's fun too.
I make money off of recording you guys.
You. That's great.
I just want to let you know, you bitch. Hey!
Oh my God!
You are rallying your best out here, I have to tell you.
Was the F word relaunched? I don't understand this.
So Misgendering meltdown.
It is one thing to get misgendered by like straight cis people, but it is another thing going into a queer space and getting nothing but misgendered there. Like that pisses me off so bad. I was at the gay bar last night. Gay bar is always the scene of the crime, okay? And I'm in line waiting for the bathroom, and like there's stalls and there's urinals, right? And like anybody that's using the urinal, I just let them go in front of me, and then I'm waiting for a stall. And some guy comes out and he's like, he says something about the urinals, and he was like, oh, you're waiting for the stall? And I was like, yes, I am. And he was like, and that is a woman's right. What gave him the audacity to say that to me?
Wow, I'm not sure how she'll ever recover from this horrifying event. The dude was probably joking. He probably thought you were just a woman and there was a line for the women's room or something, so you were just waiting for the stall. You're not a victim. Like, I'm so sorry. I'm out of sympathy. I'm out of tears for y'all at this point. You're not entitled to anything. And this constant desire to be a victim for like social media clout or whatever is not just grating and frustrating. It is really counterproductive. It's not going to make you happy. Constantly going through life like this, trying to be a victim, is a recipe for, honestly, I think, profound dissatisfaction in life, but then also it's just giving us all a bad rap.
They always make Everest out of a sandcastle. It's so stupid.
My daughter asked me today on the way to school, she's like, will I be alive in the year 3000? And I was like, absolutely not. And then I'm like, wait.
Maybe.
You might be, dude.
Yeah.
She'd be 84.
Wow. That is some math you just did there, sweetheart. Nice. Ha. I didn't even think of that. I love women.
Even mushrooms couldn't have brought you into this kind of reality.
Malone debuting his little prepubescent girlfriend is all sorts of insane.
It's crazy. Post Malone has an actual prepubescent girlfriend. He's 29. She's 20. A little bit woke, and we can call this woman kind of racist because she's pushing the stereotype that Asian women are like these petite girls that are just like prepubescent looking. 9-year age gap. It's a little, I guess, high, but like she's a legal adult. I don't really care. Prepubescent though, that's 9 years old. Looking back at her, that's the type of outfit I would expect somebody to wear when they were making this type of take.
It's crazy.
Not really.
I'm sorry, but is no one else disturbed?
Probably the smallest age gap I've seen in Hollywood. That's me fucking real.
Gallivanting around Paris. Like, mind you, this is a grown-ass man pushing 30 with his little hand-plucked college student. The streets are saying she goes Parson.
Hand-plucked college student? The language is getting weird.
Why are you in France? Oh, I know why.
Because they're dating?
You can't even legally drink here.
First of all, if you're an adult, I don't care if you drink illegally, because you're an adult. Second of all, I started drinking when I was 14 years old, okay? It's only at family parties. As long as my mom was watching me, there's only beers. But I drank when I was a kid. I don't give a That's a little bit of an old time. I don't get that a 20-year-old girl's drinking alcohol.
Like, I'm sorry, but if one person cannot legally get a drink with another person, don't you think it's a little bit of a problem?
I guess they can, because they went to France or whatever.
I don't want anyone to twist my words, because this is not a 21-year-old situation. This is a college student and a grown multi-millionaire who just had a kid with a fiance he just left.
Crazy. I guess. Yeah, it sounds like he's not great if that's true, but I don't care. I still don't care. She's an adult.
Say it with me now. If that's not crazy, I don't know what is.
Your life is very privileged if you think that this is crazy.
This is no hate. This is no shade. This is no tea.
And it kind of adds up that your life is privileged because you're doing a lot for attention. I don't know. I've never seen somebody dressed like this that didn't have an easy life, where they were just like, I don't have anything unique about me. I need attention, you know?
She looks bomb as if you're watching this. God, you look awesome. But truly,
are you jealous?
What is the end goal? What is the end goal?
I don't know. Probably, or maybe seeing where it goes.
Are you gonna be baby mama number 2? Is he gonna cycle through you?
Maybe.
Find a 17-year-old? Is he gonna go to a different country with
17-year-old? Where did that even come from?
laws are a little bit lower? Like, I don't.
What? You're assuming that because he's talking to a 20-year-old girl, that means he's gonna go to a country where the age of consent is lower just to have sex with a child? That's crazy. And also, it's still illegal. I'm pretty sure that in America, if you try to go to another country to meet somebody that's under our age of consent, you can be criminally liable for that.
I don't understand.
I don't
And the thing that
either.
always gets me too is like, what do you guys talk about? What do you talk about?
See, this is the thing, is that's like a reasonable question. Like, hey, like, what do you talk about with somebody when you're 29 and they're 20? Like, you guys don't seem to have like very similar life experience. That's a fine question to ask, but you're using that reasonable question to jump onto this whole narrative that she's somehow prepubescent at 20 years old. That's insane.
Realistically, 8-9-year age gap, nothing crazy. But it is crazy when you're in a transitional period of your life. Would it be crazy if it was like 40, 49? Is it crazy that one person can't even have a Bud Light? Yeah, I think so. I think when you're dating someone who made beer bongs and Bentleys and you can't even have a beer, that's a little absurd. Sorry, girl. I just hope when the dust settles, this diva's gonna be okay, because I don't want to see her down.
I like that she's pretending to care about this person. If she was 21, we'd see the same commentary. She would just find another excuse.
That's jealousy, right? She sounds so hurt, but you also look like you have multiple pronouns, so I doubt Post Malone would want you. Just let it go.
You
with a condom, that does not count as a body. It does not.
So you go 100 niggas.
And it's not gonna count.
Fuck nobody.
Exactly. It's not gonna count.
Yeah, that's
not gonna
that's
count.
different. Wait, so that means your boyfriend can do that. If you got a boyfriend, like, yeah, you know, I'm about to go fuck this bra right quick, but I'm gonna wear a condom, so it don't count.
You see, no, don't know how to do that.
She got irritated instantly.
Now Jazzy says it's like she's married to Trump and he's beating her.
I feel like I'm in an abusive relationship. I think all Americans may feel like we're in an abusive relationship with this administration as well as with the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court that struggles to really earn the trust of American citizens, right? And at a time in which we really are wondering whether or not there is going to be this ultimate clash between an order from the Supreme Court and this administration.
Biden raided Trump's house, had him arrested, and then had veiny judges fine him $500 million. What's Jazzy worried about the rule of law for? Maybe it has to do with the FEC investigating her shady fundraising. A Texas couple gave Crockett $600, and they don't know how their money wound up going through Act Blue. I'm sure there's an innocent explanation.
I'm really curious as to how Crockett got elected.
Gaza was a concentration camp, and you probably think that too. Am I right?
I mean, again, it literally a concentration camp. It shares a lot of similarities, I would think.
You do think it's a concentration camp?
I said it shares many, you know.
Right. And you also say that there's a disproportionately heavy youth population in Gaza.
Yes. Do you think that's not accurate?
I think the second one is accurate.
Right.
But it's a very strange thing to say that there's a population boom in a concentration camp. In Auschwitz in the 1940s, there was not a doubling of the population.
No, I didn't say it was.
He didn't say it was a concentration
camp.
camp. He said it shares many of the characteristics.
Auschwitz was a concentration camp. It started as a concentration camp.
Yes, correct.
You'll notice that people were not doubling in size their number because of the children they could have in Auschwitz. Either you think the place is a concentration camp or you think it's not a concentration camp, and I don't think it can be a concentration camp or any such term is suitable when you're talking about a place which you yourself have admitted has a disproportionately young population. So that's the first thing.
In any way argues against, but okay. I didn't call it a concentration camp.
You said it has many of the same.
But you asked him if it did. You asked him if it had any of the characteristics of a concentration
Yes, because he said earlier that it did.
Okay, well, all I'm saying, so let me be much more precise. Let me be much more precise, okay? So I'm not claiming that it is a concentration camp or that it is akin to Auschwitz. I mean, again, it literally a concentration camp. It shares a lot of similarities, I would think.
Pardon me, is that Joe Rogan?
Racism exists. To say that it's something that somebody made up is absolutely ridiculous. What do you think the KKK stands for then? What you think because they're wearing white robes, they're a peace organization? Come on, let's be serious here. Kanye did start backpedaling. I suspect
the KKK was an evil organization, just like Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is a far-left, liberal, radical, agitative organization founded by a bunch of black lesbians and homosexuals and
Mr. Peterson, I suggest you give...
Okay, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Mr. Peterson, you're now descending into extremely unpleasant and frankly vile rhetoric. I don't know why you think this is appropriate to say this on national television, but what you just said is completely unacceptable.
And why can't he say his opinion on national television?
I was hit on by a white man at the grocery store today.
And no one cares. I promise you. I promise you, we don't care.
We truly don't. Just move it along. Tell the man you're uninterested because you are a racist clickbaiter.
I feel like us white people need to get a little bit more comfortable with just being like, I understand, I get it. I saw a video last night from a white woman who was responding to a comment from a black man who was like, I don't typically comment on white people's videos, but facts. And she was like, this feels really racist, actually. It feels like a really weird reaction when I feel like your reaction should be more like, oh, I completely understand why you wouldn't trust white people. Here's an example. When I made my reparations video a while back, there was somebody in the comments, and I'm quoting here, I remember this specifically. He said, I f***ed you heavy, twin, but I don't follow white people like that, you feel me? And I was like, I get it, I understand. And I get that a lot on a lot of my videos, and I'm like, you know what, it's whatever. I feel like that should be the energy, like across the board, because if you're like really upset about it, what are you trying to collect them? Like, what the f*** going on? Like the second that happens, they immediately turn into a conservative and they're like, reverse racism in 2024. Really interesting. Maybe you
As a white person, I think that all white people should constantly apologize to everyone that's not white. As a white person, I think that white people should give reparations to black people.
I know this was a mating call to a certain race, but they don't want you, bro.
Do you recognize the fact that there are systemic inequalities against black and also minority individuals on this campus and in the world, frankly, and in the United States? And how do you think BLM kind of fits in with that?
I think that the only systemic racism on university campuses is that black students and Hispanic students are given an advantage on the basis of their race in terms of admissions relative to white and Asian students. Now, the Supreme Court did strike that down as being obviously illegal and deeply unjust. There are major serious problems affecting black people in America that are legitimate and need to be addressed. 70% of black babies are born out of wedlock. The majority of black babies in New York are killed before they're ever born through abortion. The political solution, though, it needs to be properly political and not vigilante and not so violent and extortionist as BLM was. Dozens of people were killed in the BLM riots. Lots of private property was destroyed. We know lots of stores were looted. And none of this does anything to advance racial justice. They had a highly leftist ideological agenda that should be totally routed from society, and people should actually try to work on matters of justice. But we do that within the political order, not with violent terrorists.
Keyword terrorists.
What's the gayest thing you're going to do today, Bob?
Give someone a UTI. I've got one myself. It's not contagious, but you can still give it to someone else. I'm on antibiotics, but don't worry, it's not an STI, it's a UTI. So I didn't know people with wieners could get one, but you can. And I've been needing a wee constantly, haven't I, for 8 months. And then it started to be like pissing razor blades, and I was like, oh, is this chlamydia? I haven't had chlamydia in a long time. I normally get gonorrhea and syphilis. Syphilis is awful. I thought that was monkeypox. Anyway, what's the question?
Wow, what does he not have?
Can you tell us about what you're wearing?
I'm in a Handmaid's Tale outfit.
Is the mask part of the costume, the Handmaid's Tale costume?
Yep, the mask is part of the costume in different parts of the story. If you look in the actual series itself, some of them have their mouths stapled shut, or they wear the leather mask, or this is the more traditional mask, but there are different levels of how oppressed the women are, and so...
The mask is a sign of oppression.
Yep, it is.
It's oppressive to wear masks.
It's meant that the handmaids are supposed to look down, they're not supposed to speak, they're not supposed to make eye contact, that we are supposed to be subservient, that we are supposed to serve men, our commanders, and our women and their wives.
So we're against masks.
We are against masks, not for COVID, not for infection.
Not for COVID.
Yes, yeah, but it is a sign of oppression.
Masks are a sign of oppression.
Yep.
Now respectfully ask her about burqas. She would explode into a goo of red ignorance.
A man who sexually assaulted a 5-year-old child repeatedly. She had to testify at trial. The jury convicted. My opponent still refused to revoke bond, the $500 signature bond she released him on. She let him live near us across the street from an elementary school. She didn't change any of that after he was convicted. And then at sentencing time, in spite of the pleas of the victim, she ultimately gave that offender a sentence that resulted in him being in prison for less than 2 years after that sentencing date. This is a dangerous flaw in my opponent's judgment, and that's just one example of many.
I'll stand by the cases. They have focused between him and Elon Musk. They have focused on 2 cases out of thousands that I've handled.
2020, you did sentence a child offender to 4 years in prison after prosecutors requested 10. Do you regret that sentence?
Yes. I don't regret that sentence because I followed the law in that case, as I always do. I applied the law, which says that judges have to consider every relevant factor in sentencing. You have to consider both the aggravating and mitigating factors. And the Supreme Court has said you have to order the minimum amount of prison time you believe is necessary to protect the public. That's what I did in that case and every other case. And my goal is always to keep the community safe.
Now hold on a minute. What does Elon have to do with her being a cheerleader for pedophiles? Also, what community is she keeping safe?
They just want to take so many of our rights away.
Which one do you think is the most fundamental, outside of the right to choose? Like, what else are we worried about in the next coming 4 years?
That's a hard question because it seems that the scope of what they want to take is so broad that it's hard for me to right now put into words, because it's such an emotional time that it's hard for me to just very calmly put these things into like a rational perspective.
So basically, they get their protest fuel from TikTok to hand fear-mongering leaders, but not an ounce of knowledge?
Sign here. True Christians love everyone. Would you say you believe in this sign?
Yes, but define love.
Define love? It's a respect. You respect someone enough to not judge them, to not hate them for what they're doing, no matter what it is.
Do you lie to people you love?
Do I lie to people I love? Not often enough. And I don't lie about...
Should we, in the ideal, when you love somebody, should you lie to them?
Depends on the lie. So, let me give an example here. Say, do you have a sibling? Say you have a sibling and they have a dress on and it is just ugly, the ugliest thing you've ever seen. Are you gonna tell them that dress is ugly, you need to change it, you horrible person?
Yes. In fact, I'll do it in a way that is filled with love, but I love my sister so much that if I feel if she's gonna leave the house and be made fun of, I won't let her do that, because that's what love is all about. You see, love is not...
Are you going to make her feel ugly saying that?
Well, no, in fact...
How would you say it to make them not feel ugly?
I would say, listen, I care a lot about you. I think that maybe you should change that outfit, or let's see what other outfits you might have.
What if she's like, no, I spent a lot on this, I'm really proud, I think this looks great. Are you going to say that what she thinks look great doesn't look great to you?
I would say, look, you can obviously wear whatever you want, but I want to caution you that if you wear that dress out in public, it might not be received the way you think it would be received. I would be remiss not to say that if I actually loved my sister. I'd be remiss, because love is not affirmation. Love is not confirmation. Love is making sure that you care so much about the other that you're willing to challenge and point out flaws when you see them and have the courage to articulate it. That's what love is, as embodied by Christ our Lord, because you have true love right there.
So what faith do you practice then? Because you say Christianity, do you have a specific sect?
It's like evangelical, basically.
This is over then.
Where did Bob Ross go? I hope he accepts Jesus in his heart.
Ah, yes, let's storm away like a child because we're making 0 sense. What's with these arts and crafts signs, though?
I'm not pro-abortion, I'm pro-choice.
Pro-choice for what?
For women to choose what is best for them.
For women to choose abortion?
No. For whether women want to choose whether they have a baby, whether they put up for adoption, whether they have abortion, whatever.
But so you're pro-legal abortion?
Yes.
So you're pro-abortion?
No, I am pro-choice.
I'm anti-legal abortion. So are you pro-legal abortion or are you anti-legal abortion?
I'm pro-legal abortion.
So you're pro-abortion?
That doesn't mean I'm gonna run around and say everybody should have an abortion.
No, I didn't say that. But you are okay with abortion existing and happening in the United States of America?
Yes.
So you're pro-abortion?
I think you're twisting my words.
No, I think the reason you don't want to accept that phrase is because saying you're pro-abortion doesn't sound so great.
I mean, I can certainly stand up here and say I'm pro-abortion, but you're just trying to twist my words.
Okay, so you admit you're pro-abortion?
I am pro-abortion.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. I am pro-safe legal abortion.
Yep, you're pro-abortion.
Yep.
Okay.
Twisting your vocal-fired slurs, you mean? Could you at least articulate? Well, that is a wrap, people. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget the like, comment, and subscribe buttons. See you in the next one.